It may be news to some, but looking at paintings is also a kind of art. This process is not quite easy because it requires a certain knowledge of the language in which the paintings are written. And it should be said that paintings are read in the same way as we read books. Artists, like writers, have their philosophers and their lovers of lighter genres. The works of some are like scholarly treatises, others are like novels, and others are fascinating stories. And to be convinced of this, we will consider the paintings of several different artists, in which they, in different ways, depending on their talent from the environment and time, told, for example, about family relationships. The bright representative of the Rococo style, François Boucher, has a painting, Thoughts on Grapes. Rococo style emerged in France in the first half of the 18th century. Artists professing this style put in their works edifying and often erotic notes. The action of the painting unfolds in a long period of time. It depicts a young couple, a shepherd and a shepherdess, against the background of a rural landscape, among domestic animals. The main character in the painting is a beautiful shepherdess who, teasing her beau, has torn off a bunch of grapes and offered him only one berry. This is clearly not enough for the young man, and he tries to seize not only the whole bunch, but also all the wealth that is in the girl's basket. The heavy, thick cloak that rests on the shepherdess's lap brings us to the next episode in the life of our couple in love. In this episode, they are represented as sheep. He is a Aries lying down, content with his life, chewing grass. She is a sheep who has trustingly laid her head on him. And also, above them, a couple of lambs, their babies. Family idle. An endless number of years have passed, and in the next episode they appear to us as an aging goat and she-goat. There's no vitality in them, and they're looking in different directions. All that's left of their former beautiful life is a memory. They're alone. You can see that their children live their own independent lives. And there, beyond the river, 2 white houses are visible, which look like 2 posthumous monuments for them, where their souls will go to heaven. And now, let's move to our days and consider the picture of the Soviet artist Dmitry Zhilinsky. The family of the artist Cheryshev. The actions in this painting take place in a short period of time. Therefore, unlike Boucher's painting, there is no saga to be found here. But we can learn a lot about the actors. Because, thanks to the talent of the author, perfectly developed psychological images of the actors. The artist himself is depicted in a light work coat. His face is illuminated by an inner divine light, and although he is leaning on a stick, but only to take off, and the artist himself looks very much like a celestial, and his wife, like the nearby strong trees, clings very tenaciously to the ground, and, if he only contemplates nature, she keeps the flowers of this nature for him, and she herself is that very nature. Their children go their own way. They discuss their earthly problems, and they have nothing to do, at this moment, neither to their parents nor to the natural beauties. The painting, The Bolotov Family, by artist Viktor Popkov, is built on the principle of contrasting harmony, in accordance with the mental atmosphere that has developed in this family. Dad sends the child to Mom. Mom sulks at Dad, and even the black cat, which introduces us into the picture and defines its atmosphere with its sullen look, as if to say, "Guys, what order you have." But not all paintings allow for an unambiguous reading. So, the first serious work of this artist, Builders of Bratsk, which was acquired by the Tretyakov Gallery, can be read in 2 ways. But before dwelling in more detail on this painting, Associated with the theme of labor, I would like to consider how this theme is revealed in other artists. François Millet, a great French artist representative of the so-called Barbizon school in his painting Gatherers of Ears, told about the endless labor of a small man and social inequality. Already, in the first half-bent figure of a woman, he defined the idea of his plan. In order to live, the poor woman is forced to use only the leftovers of the produced product. In the distant background are depicted numerous workers and laborers, harvesting, and only for one little man sitting on a horse. Not so tragically saw labor as contemporary French artist Fernand Léger's The Builders. His workers are scattered all over the picture plane. Together with the erected buildings, they rise to the sky. We can say, as it does not sound banal, the artist created a hymn to labor. And now we will return to the painting by V. Popkov's Builders of Bratsk. The author idealizes his characters. Emphasizing the monumentality of what is happening, he depicts his heroes on a dark background. The artist hints to us that these heroes, by their labor, are called to give light to these gloomy places. But let us ask ourselves, do these workers work with stern and even one might say manly countenances? 2 of them are sitting smoking, 2 are propping up their sides with their arms, and the girl in the red scarf has lowered her flags and is not going to signal with them. I'd like to remind you that this is early work. Let's forget what I wrote above about this painting and look at it differently. The artist is talented and knows the techniques of composition. Perhaps this painting is a mockery of the system in which he lived. In those days, there was a joke. They pretend to pay, and we pretend to work. It was a dark time for some. Maybe that's why the action takes place at night. And maybe the worker with the chain around his neck is the key in the painting. This painting can be read this way and that way. However, we want to visualize it for ourselves. To learn how to understand the author's intentions, watch the other videos that follow next, and be sure to see it through to the end. Further, we will consider some laws and techniques with the help of which paintings are created, and then it will be possible to comprehend the language of artists.